Welcome to the Squared Circle Pit with your host, Rob Pasbani.
Now entering the Squared Circle Pit, we have a comedian and a fellow New Yorker with a lovely Ice Spice shirt right now. Josh Alba, welcome to the Squared Circle Pit. Enter the pit.
What's up, buddy? Thank you for having me. Yeah, man, I love the shirt. I try my best because, my boobs go over it and then it starts looking like it's crying. And I don't want that to happen.
Oh, I hear you. As someone who himself has a case of the moobs, I like to keep my camera shot above the torso. See, it's a nice 3/4 shot.
Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. I want to ask you the same thing I ask everyone when they jump into the pit. What is your earliest pro wrestling memory?
Earliest pro wrestling memory. Seeing Austin Tyson fighting on PAX because I did not have cable. So I don't know if you remember, they used to show the Raw replays on PAX. Sort of. It was like a
1-hour show, right?
Yeah, and I was like, what is happening? And that's when I got into it. Then I started watching tapes from the video store of like Royal Rumble 93. Early on, like my whole timeline was kind of screwed up because I'm like confused with New Generation along with Attitude Era happening right now. And I literally started the Attitude Era at the perfect time when Austin and Tyson were fighting. So,
that was the almost like the unofficial beginning, WrestleMania 14 kind of. So that was a good entry point. How old were you? That was like
the perfect let's say 8, maybe 8, 9.
Okay, a perfect age, perfect time. You ready to party?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I got so lucky.
So you're a WWE guy mostly, or you grew up a WWE guy?
I grew up with WWE more of a WCW guy, honestly. At
Nice.
the time.
Yeah. So how did you find WCW? Did you find Worldwide, the late night Worldwide syndicated show?
It was definitely Worldwide. They actually used to give it Saturday mornings on like Channel 9. I remember. I don't remember.
I remember it being, I must have flipped around. You're right. It used to be on 9, but I remember it being on at like midnight on Saturday nights on CBS on Channel 2.
I would catch, they would air a replay then Sunday mornings.
Oh, maybe that's what it is. Yeah. Because I remember going back and forth with that in SNL. Like I have just vivid memories of Worldwide and SNL competing.
Yeah.
So who were your WCW guys?
Rey Mysterio, Conan.
Nice.
Guerrero.
Yeah.
Those were my guys. Yeah. Filthy Animals. Everyone thought that group was dumb. I loved them. They were my favorite.
They were the best wrestlers.
I also, controversial opinion, I love the Wolfpack too. I still do, although everyone, they have their...
What's the controversy?
Well, there's a lot of people that was like, oh, that was when NWO killed it for me. And, they would say like that was the downhill for it, or, I love the Wolfpack. Like, I thought it was awesome. The
Wolfpack was the best part of it. Yeah. Like I was like, oh, great. Yeah. Now it's just they trimmed the fat. And they had the updated logo. It was much cooler.
Yeah, I was a little confused with Disco Inferno being in it, but besides that, everything else was awesome.
When you're an adult, you learn there's some hangers on that are just invited to the party when they shouldn't be there.
Yeah, exactly.
So you saw the Tyson Austin thing, and then eventually you found WCW and decided this is more my pace.
Sort of. I was watching Nitro more because it was an earlier show than Raw. Raw was like at 9 to 11, and
so you eventually got cable. How did you get cable? What was the story?
Oh no, I never did. I would go to my grandmother's house at the time. She had like a hot box.
There we go.
That's how we would watch and do the channel flipping. You go watch Nitro in the beginning, flip over the Raw. But we were mostly Nitro people, me and my cousin at the time. And then that's when they came out with SmackDown on UPN, and I was excited because I was like, cool, I can watch this at home. And then that's when I became a WWE guy since because of that.
Right.
So
people don't realize the amount of accessibility WWE gained when they had a primetime broadcast television show.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what really
100%.
excited what excited me about SmackDown coming to Fox is you have like just a whole new audience that wouldn't be able to watch it anyway. Or I guess it's probably a little different now than it was back then because everyone had a TV with
Yeah.
broadcast television back then. Now TVs you don't necessarily get the broadcast channel.
No, or you don't even need it. You could just watch on like Hulu now or
Right,
wherever
right.
you watch everything, streaming service. Before it was like just TV, that was it, or tapes, So that's why it's funny. Like I think it's kind of a little funny when wrestling fans still talk about TV ratings, because like no way that shouldn't count anymore. Like like nobody's
Well,
watching
it
it.
counts to a point that like that's where the money is. That's probably the only way,
Yeah.
the biggest piece of the pie for the main two companies. But I
Hmm.
agree, like you can't compare the ratings. Also, it's ridiculous just if you go back and look during the Attitude Era, it's like you had 5 to 8 million people watching. Now if you have 2 million people watching, it's a cause for celebration. But to be
Hmm.
fair, there was no internet back then. There was no YouTube,
Nope.
Netflix, all these streaming services. There was no Twitter.
Mm-mm.
Only the lovely AOL chat rooms.
Yeah, how would you get into a fight with your favorite wrestler? You know, even at Twitter.
You'd have to wait for their monthly like AOL chat to talk shit to them until you got kicked out of the room.
Yeah, exactly. Or just go to the ECW arena at the time and just wait for them
Uh,
to show up if they were to show
so
up there.
did your grandma watch wrestling with you guys, with you and your cousin, or was it just the two of you?
No, it was just me and my cousin. We were big into wrestling, me and him at the time. He's not into it anymore. He fell out. Uh,
Loser.
yeah, exactly. I remind him all the time, like, you don't know, you understand how good it is right now.
So
Bloodline.
when you discovered ECW, is that like, I feel like, especially at the age you probably were at the time, that must have been like the whole, like, oh shit, this is the real stuff. This is what I've been waiting
Yeah.
for.
Oh, so it was fun. What's funny is I discovered ECW by accident. My grandmother, God bless her, she would try her best to record wrestling for me if I was unable to stay over a lot. So she was like, "I'm gonna do
Oh,
something
what a
nice."
saint.
Yeah. The problem is she did not know what she was recording. So I have one tape of the episode where Paul White pulled the Titantron down
Mhm.
and then Stone Cold came out and destroyed it. And it cuts back and forth to that episode of Nitro. So it was just random craziness happening at both times. Um I have
So she would
another tape.
channel clip for you as well as she's
Yeah.
recording.
Yeah, which is wild. And I have one tape of UFC, Carlos Newton at the time. I don't know if you remember him or have heard of him. He did like the whole Dragon Ball Z thing
Mm.
um, with the Goku at the time. She randomly recorded UFC and thought that was wrestling. That's how I got into UFC also. And then she accidentally recorded Hardcore Heaven 98. Yeah.
Oh,
And she sent me that and I was like, this is amazing.
that is a lovely woman to
Yeah,
record an
that's
ECW pay-per-view, especially at that time. That was a pretty was Jenna Jameson on that one, or was that the year prior?
I think maybe prior, I do not remember. That was the
Wish I had it.
one where it was Taz versus Bubba Ray for the ECW heavyweight title.
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
classic. The Taz run. Yeah, ECW was
Great.
phenomenal. ECW was like that was my shit. That was the like I felt I mean, I guess I felt a tribalism to both WWE and WCW, but ECW
Mm-hmm.
was like, no, 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 this is my brand. These are my boys.
Yeah, yeah,
This is
especially back.
real.
Yeah, that was at the time. I remember we all thought that was the real stuff. Like, yeah, that was the real wrestling. And yeah, like tribalism, like you said, tribalism was a lot cooler back then, at least.
Well, because
Like
I think it was like, I mean, I guess, you can't say that there wasn't shitting on the other promotions, because ECW's whole thing was talking about how WCW sucked and how, but there were certainly points to be made there because Hogan was fucking hogging the camera. But I feel like for most wrestling fans, you were a fan of everything. You didn't really shit it. Like, even if you were like, I'm an ECW guy, you were like, oh, but WWF and WCW sucks. It's like, no, I'll watch it, but I'm an ECW. I'm an ECW.
No, yeah, like, I mean, there was people that were rooting for their teams, but at the same time, there was no hate for another really promotion or their fans. At least you watched everything, and then, like, I remember when the whole thing happened when WWE bought WCW and ECW, and at first it was cool, but then when you started to realize what was really happening, you got like sad because you were like, maybe I'm not going to see everybody for a while. What are they doing? Where are they going?
The headline sounded cool, but then you realize, wait a minute, we're not getting any more Nitro, or, well, at that point we stopped getting new ECW episodes anyway. That was, for me, I was much sadder about ECW going away than WCW at the time, just because by the time WCW went out of business, it was very hard to root for the product because it was so stripped down.
100%.
Even though I watched it, I still watched it.
I really checked out with WCW at that time. I would say like beginning 2000. And then I was just
I was with him till the end, baby.
ECW. Yeah.
I mean, I stopped watching obviously Saturday night, but I would still watch Thunder and Nitro.
Oh man, freaking Thunder. Funny you brought that up. I was so bummed out. I wanted to see Thunder. I remember for a while, and then when I finally got to see it, I was watching like late 99. I was like, this is such a boring episode. And it was just a recap of Nitro. Like, I was more excited what happened.
Oh yeah, by 99. That's it. The budget was stripped. The first few weeks it was crazy because they actually had like Macho Man on the show. Like, they forced the main event guys to fly in because it was live still on a Thursday, which was unheard of at the time. 2 live shows in 1 week in the middle of the week. But then they kind of were like, all right, we're losing too much money on this. We got to start taping it during Nitro. And then nobody wanted to wrestle twice. So it turned into mostly a recap show, sadly. RIP.
Yeah.
But let's talk about modern day wrestling. Memorial Day weekend. It's a pretty stacked weekend. It's so funny because, for the longest time, WWE would avoid major holiday weekends like the plague. Then AEW comes along. They're like, we're going to make Memorial Day and Labor Day our 2 biggest events of the year. And it worked. People showed up. The tickets were sold. Pay-per-views were purchased. And WWE's like, hey, you know what? We're going to come in and we're going to do a show on that same weekend, the day before your big show, except the entry point for our show, only $5 versus $50 in the States. For you, AEW.
With AEW doing the show in Vegas, like, you would go to Vegas. I can't go to Saudi Arabia. Like, it's a wild, The
Saudi shows, I feel, with the exception of maybe like the last 1 or 2, always had really weird vibes to them. It always felt like a super house show for the most part. But then the last 1 or 2 actually felt like they were in canon. Like there was, they actually built up big storylines that had an effect on and an advancement of stories to come. Now it's actually a part of the show, whereas before it was just weird house shows or like a one-night tournament or whatever. But I'm looking forward to this one. How about you?
Me too. Like you said, in the beginning was weird. It felt like they were just pleasing the Saudi Arabian government or whoever was in charge of running it. Like, you want this? Yeah, you want Braun to be our champ? Go ahead. We'll just make him the Saudi Arabia champ or whatever that weird belt was. I don't remember that they gave him.
Oh yeah, like time. The greatest Royal Rumble.
Yeah, that pay-per-view. That was weird.
That was brutal.
Yeah. A lot of weird dream matches. We had Taker and Goldberg. Yeah. That.
Oh my God. Or Goldberg and Bray Wyatt
Mhm.
was another weird one.
That was
Yeah,
so
there was a lot of
depressing.
weird Goldberg matches that ended up. I
100%.
guess Kevin Owens and Goldberg, was that also Saudi Arabia, or was that a? I know that was a
I don't.
February one. I wasn't sure if that was Saudi Arabia, but anywho,
Mm,
now
yeah.
at least it's a real show.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this one, which is weird. It's an early show too, which is nice. I could go
Yeah,
out
I'm all about a
after.
Saturday afternoon show. I agree with you. I think that's a great
um,
time for a show.
yeah, it would have been cool if AEW ran Double or Nothing that night.
I don't know though, because like from a business point of view, they're charging more. So
Yeah,
a wrestling fan would be more inclined to be like, I just saw wrestling. I don't need to pay more. Plus, it's significantly more. One thing I don't understand is why AEW overseas, outside of the US, the pay-per-view costs $20. In the US, I think because of actual television pay-per-view and their requirements, it costs $50. It's not there.
right. I didn't even know they charge $20 outside the US.
Oh yeah,
That's insane. I'm guessing that
much
money
more
goes to.
reasonable.
Yeah, that is insane.
Well,
Screw
I think
that.
the pay-per-view providers, like because the pay-per-view providers take a 50-50 split, they have to
Hmm.
charge 50 on the pay-per-view to make their $25 revenue. And the pay-per-view companies have a clause that you cannot charge customers in our region lower for like a streaming version of this pay-per-view. I think that's what it is.
Hmm.
They don't want to be competing with streaming from TV pay-per-view.
Oh God, it's all mafia to me. That's what I think.
Bullshit. Agreed. But anyway, let's go through the card.
Yeah, man.
We're recording this the weekend before the show. So like I'm sure with AEW they might add like 3 or 4 more matches by the time this airs. So please
Yeah,
excuse us for not being able to preview those. Not our fault.
I would have done all
But
of them anyways. Too many.
but the Night of Champions card I think is pretty much fully announced by this point. Seems like a
Hmm.
very nice card. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure that the main event is going to be the crowning of the new World Heavyweight Champion. It's the finals of this tournament, which I have to say they did a pretty good job of creating some sort of stakes or like relative prestige to this. Like it feels like, okay, yeah, this is a believable world title match. It's Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles. What's your take on this whole scenario?
I love it. First of all, Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles, just that match alone. I'm looking forward to it. That's gonna be
Agreed.
awesome. Also, this new belt at first sounded silly, but it sort of grew on me, especially the look. I don't know how you feel.
I like it.
Yeah. I at first I thought it was weird looking, but like over time it just like just grew on me. I was like, you know what, this belt actually looks really cool.
I think
You
my
know.
problem, my not, I wouldn't say problem, but my issue with it initially was I didn't watch that episode of Raw live. I was like an hour or two behind. And
Mhm.
in general, I try to avoid watching Raw just because 3 hours is too much. SmackDown is a great
It is.
show. It's tight, 2 hours, tight, good action. So I don't watch Raw, so I only saw screenshots on Twitter. And because of the lighting, you couldn't really tell exactly what the title looked like. It looked different in each camera angle,
Yeah.
and so it
It
wasn't until I saw the, WWE shop render, and then like the next week they figured out the lighting. After a few weeks, you kind of see the belt more, and you're like, oh, this actually looks really cool. Like I like that it's an updated version of the big gold belt, which is my second favorite, or in my top three, I would say. The big
Mhm.
gold, the winged eagle, and the previous IWGP World Title design are like the best looking belts of all time, in my opinion.
100%. Same
And
ones with me.
yeah, so I have
Mhm.
so I like that it was that, and I understand from a branding perspective, as someone that worked in marketing, why they want that giant fucking WWE logo in there. Because when they send this to fucking basketball players or whoever for winning whatever championship they win, it's
Mhm.
phenomenal advertising for them. So I get it. So I thought this was a,
Yeah.
a classy compromise between all parties.
Yeah, definitely. I did think it looked funny on WWE Shop. Like, I did not like the picture of it. I don't know. It just looks a lot different in person, or not in person. I've never seen it in person yet. I feel like I will soon. But also, yeah, it just looks great. I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see what they do with it. We got a whole new champion now that we can see with new storylines coming up. There's like a lot of new exciting things to come with that as well. You got more guys that can be put in that position to be the main guy as well, because we got, let's put it this way, they booked themselves into a corner where Roman just can't lose. Roman is God now, and there's nobody stopping him. But this new title belt, as I would think, as much as I do like Roman, gives an opportunity for everyone else to be that guy, as long as he stays away from Roman or Cody. But yeah, I am looking forward to Seth versus AJ Styles. Those it's gonna be awesome. I can't wait.
And I'm almost certain, like, if I were a man with a DraftKings account, I would pick Seth Rollins to win this, because Rollins has a claim against Roman Reigns that Roman has never pinned him, never beat him in a match. And I think that's a good way to establish credibility for this title, because the person holding it is somebody who Roman, the God, hasn't defeated. And I think that's a really good way to start the belt up. I have to say, it's also very confusing that it's called the World Heavyweight Championship. It's not the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, because that is technically part of the title that Roman holds, because one of those titles is the former World Heavyweight Championship and the WWE Championship were unified into, which was the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. So now they're pulling. It's so stupid. It's so stupid.
It just keeps absorbing belts.
I'm curious when Seth wins this championship, as I'm so sure he will. I'm curious when they put up the title history, if he will be the first champion or it will continue the lineage of the big gold belt, which I think would be cooler. What do you think?
That's a good question. I think they might start off new. I don't know. They came out with the Universal that kind of replaced the heavyweight title in a way, and I think they sort of want to start off new. This is what I think, as far as the vibes I'm getting. They want to start off something new, sort of like, how like AEW with their heavyweight championship belt, like, it's, but not just with the belt in general, like with wins, losses, all that stuff counts. They try to make it as legitimate as possible.
Yes.
With I think they're sort of gonna do the same thing with that belt.
So I actually just looked it up, and the World Heavyweight Championship does not have any connection to the WCW Championship. The first champion is listed as Triple H, which is how he was crowned by Eric Bischoff, as Gene Okerlund used to say.
Yeah, he just gave it to him. They were just like, here you go.
This was during the Triple H reign of terror. But okay, so I guess then I don't mind. Then it's fine. Start its own lineage. No biggie. All right. So but I'm pretty sure Seth Rollins is going to win. Would you agree with that?
I'd be shocked if AJ won.
Right, because also he's a SmackDown guy. And then for the undisputed WWE Tag Team titles, we have Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. There's a few reasons this will be a very interesting match. What do you think?
It's definitely an interesting match. First of all, you got Sami going to Saudi Arabia. That's shocking to me.
Agreed.
I'm surprised that's happening. Two, this makes me laugh because I have a couple of friends who hate that Roman is the champion, And I kind of like joke around with them that he's going to take all the belts, even the tag team belts. And someone told me like if he does that, I will break my TV.
I
But
honestly, I would not hate it. I wouldn't hate it.
I wouldn't at all. I would love it.
I kind of love it too.
I really honestly don't know what's gonna happen. That's what I love about it so much, that I just don't know what's gonna happen. I mean, I love the Seth Rollins match because Seth and AJ are gonna have a great match. This one, there's just so many things that can happen. You could have Roman and Solo win the tag team titles, or you can have Kevin and Sammy defeat finally Roman and
Yeah,
Solo.
get a pin on him.
Yeah, and they just won their titles. They didn't win they didn't win his belt, but they just beat him, and they could cause a whole thing with the Bloodline or with Solo. Solo could maybe split. I don't know what's gonna happen, but like Roman said, he's cooking filet mignon, and I'm kind of excited to see how this ends.
I agree with you. When Roman won at WrestleMania, I hated it, but I loved it. Why I loved it is that I did not see it coming, and it was such great, to quote Bubba Ray Dudley, heat. It was such great heat. And when they announced this match, it tickled me, thinking how upset, like much like you were saying, people would get if Roman had 2 more title belts to carry around. And it would add to his God status. But the downside to that is you would essentially be killing the tag team division, because he's already barely defending his world title. That means even less opportunities to defend the tag team title. So I don't think it makes sense economically, like makes sense with the, how they try to spread out the title defenses for Roman to win the title in that sense, but it would be really cool. As far as who wins, either option advances the Bloodline story, I think, because if they do win, Roman and Solo, then on SmackDown he can go up to the Usos and be like, see, I did the thing that you can't do because you guys are fucking losers.
Yeah.
And if he loses,
then, just like that.
Yeah. And if he loses, then it gives the Usos the momentum to be like, oh, who's the bitch now, bitch? Like, I think I don't know which one is more of an interesting plot development. In my head, I think it would be more interesting for Roman to lose. To have that, because the Bloodline story right now, ever since WrestleMania was a huge crescendo, and it feels like it's kind of spinning its wheels and kind of in repeat mode right now. Not that it's bad, the promos have still been good, but there hasn't been any forward movement. And I think if Roman loses, it's a good way to get to that next point, which is the Usos, I guess, breaking off from him.
Yeah, definitely. I will say this. Like you said, economically, storyline wise, it would not make sense for Roman and Solo to win. But for me, as a comic, it would be really funny if he won and just kept going. Even if he did, obviously if he lost, it would be cool, because then we get to see what happens with the Bloodline breaking up, and that would grow. But if he were to win and he was tag team champions, and I just think that would just be so funny. And just the fact that he's just unbeatable and he just goes on like this for another 5 years, maybe. Maybe wins the heavyweight title down the line.
I want that so bad. I want him to be a triple crown champion. That'd be so cool.
Yeah. Everyone hates it, but like, but you watch it, and this is not a hate where, you got to remember there was a time in wrestling where we just had Raw on just to have it on, and it was just unwatchable.
Well, there was nothing else.
Yeah. There was nothing else. It was just 3 hours of, we don't like this. Can you make it better? And then Vince goes, okay, Hornswoggle's my son now. And you just have to deal with that. And it was really bad. And now we have just so much good stuff happening. especially with this bloodline thing, I think is obviously the best storyline we've ever had in a long time. Will Roman win? I'm gonna say probably not. I think him and Solo are gonna lose. It will
Yeah.
be interesting to see how they lose.
I think it's more interesting for Roman to take the pin than for Solo, because if Solo takes Roman has to be the one that loses the match, because he was the one that made the big stink about the Usos not being able to defeat them. So I think it would work where like the Usos aren't going to help out. They're not in Saudi Arabia, so he doesn't have them to cheat for him. And Solo is somehow taken out of the match, and then it's just Roman, and he can't beat them. I think that would be the fun way to do that. All right, moving on. We have the Intercontinental title match where I think the winner is pretty obvious. It's Gunther versus Mustafa Ali. And these kind of bookings are kind of like sympathy booking. You know, this is totally to get the local pop, get the brown guy on the Saudi show. And Mansoor is in too silly of a heel gimmick to really be booked.
He's been banned from Saudi Arabia. If this was the plan for a while now, this should have kind of been stretched out a little longer, I think, my opinion. This just seemed to me a very quick put together match again for that reason. And Gunther's just gonna chop shit out of him and destroy him. And I'm kind of looking forward to that. Because maybe Mustafa will be very good at selling it.
Yeah, I think it will be a good match because Gunther's best opponents are guys that are like smaller and faster, so that they could like that's who he matches up well with. And so I think this will be a really fun match that might surprise people. And the crowd, I'm sure, will be really hot rooting for Mustafa. So that should be fun. Then we have the Raw Women's title match just announced. The Raw Women's title, of course, storylines happening on SmackDown. Asuka versus Bianca Belair.
That's a weird one. I was just like, it's funny when you said that. I was like, wait, there's a Raw Women's title, and I remember she's doing that on SmackDown now. When is Asuka gonna kill her already? That's what I'm kind of waiting for.
I'm surprised. Yeah, I was thinking that Asuka was ready to win at WrestleMania, but then I saw that incredible Bianca Belair entrance, and I was like, okay, maybe Bianca needs to win this one because that was so good, and she needs to like triumph and have that happy ending. But now that she's broken her record, I'm ready for something new. Not that I love Bianca Belair. I want to make it clear.
Yeah,
I just want something fresh. Asuka's so great. She could have a great match with anybody. I want Asuka.
Yeah, I would love Asuka to win. And not only that, I feel like her entire career in WWE, they've been holding her back for so long. And like when she says nobody's ready for Asuka, that's legit, because even though she's lost matches, like I just feel like they've been, holding her back for a while. They're kind of giving her a taste with this new little look that, I mean, it's not new, but in WWE it is. And I feel like they're slowly introducing that side of her in a way to be this monster women's champion. Maybe. I'm hoping, because Asuka Kana's a badass. We all remember the stuff that she did in Japan, especially when Suzuki beat the crap out of her. That's just violent to watch. That's
why I think also with her, where she's also successful is WWE have just completely sucked at booking her and like have booked her like crap, but she's still super over and people still buy her as being incredibly tough because she's such a aggressive worker and because of her history, like those matches in Japan and how stiff she would work.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like very soon, maybe by SummerSlam, I'm hoping we will see more of that. I have a good feeling about Asuka. So I'm gonna say Asuka for next week.
Yeah, I hope we see a title change. Then the two non-title matches at Night of Champions. First we have Brock Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes in what is being billed as a fight.
Yeah, what does that mean?
It's not a street fight. It's not a no DQ match. I'm not quite sure. I wasn't exactly in love with their backlash match. I didn't think it deserved to be in the main event. But
No,
I want to make it clear I love Brock and Cody. But that Bad Buddy match was the best match of the show, easily.
100%. I kind of get why they did the way they did, but it just didn't make sense, especially with that finish with Cody put
Mhm.
with the pin just barely getting out. I wasn't really a
I
fan of
didn't like
that.
the finish. I understand why they did it to lead to this match, but I
Mhm.
still didn't like it. It's still, I feel like Cody is
Yeah.
not as over as he was at WrestleMania, and that's all because of how they're booking him. He could be even more over now.
Yeah. It's a little confusing with Cody because it's fun because here's my favorite thing about Cody. No matter how serious he can be, he constantly memes himself in every match that he does.
Yes,
We had the chicken in WrestleMania. I mean, that was his fault, but it always happens to him, and it's like so funny. And then we have the walk, the walk to the
Oh
stairs.
yes, yes.
That thing blew up, and it just makes me laugh. And it's not his fault, but also like in a way, it kind of doesn't really make me take him serious as like the big guy. I mean, I know he's eventually going to be the guy, but as of right now, it's just kind of hilarious to watch. Um, as far as Cody and Brock in a fight, I'm very interested to see how that's going to go. I don't know. This could be maybe a new test thing with the whole Endeavor deal where they're going to try to play out an actual fight. Maybe we've seen Brock elbow
I see
people
what you
open.
mean. Mhm.
Maybe Cody's gonna do that too. I don't know. He's done it to Randy. He's done it to Cena.
Well, even he did it to himself at the last pay-per-view. He cut himself
Yeah,
open
that was
on that.
insane.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't really have a winner for this. I'm very confused by it, but also I can't wait to see what happens. So
I guess this
yeah,
one Brock wins to set up a third match, but I don't know if I want to see them wrestling again.
no.
You
I hope
know,
this
like
ends.
I'd rather Cody win and move on. There's Money in the
Yeah.
Bank next month. Money in the Bank is the next show. I think it's in the first weekend of July, but
Mhm.
I think it's still like 4 or 5 weeks. But you know, Money in the Bank, he could just be in that match, and hopefully, I guess he could win it because then that's how he finishes the story.
Maybe.
You know, maybe they have it where you could challenge for either title and not just for Brand's title.
Yeah, he could be that guy where he goes, I won it. I'm gonna cash it in at SummerSlam, but we're gonna have a
Yeah.
match against Seth. And I could see that being good because of their history.
Or he could just he's like, I'm saving this until WrestleMania. And Roman, I want you at WrestleMania.
That's true too. But
They
yeah,
could do
we'll
the
see.
Rock Cena thing, but with them.
Yeah, I hope not. God,
Okay,
I don't know.
so that's the Night of Champions card. Oh, wait, no, there's one more
Mhm.
match. Becky Lynch versus Trish Stratus. How could I forget this one? Kind of shocked this is going to be in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
But Trish Stratus has looked unbelievable. I say this with no shade, but whoever her plastic surgeon is, WWE needs to hire this or recommend this person for all of the people that are interested in plastic surgery because it is the most tastefully done plastic surgery that any woman in WWE has, I think.
Yeah, she looks amazing. Yeah, I love Trish. Trish versus Becky. It was kind of, I don't know. I don't know if this is probably like my least favorite match, to be honest with you, just because I'm just not really that interested in their story. I do think Trish's being back is great. I'm not sure. I don't know what to say. Just
The build has been kind of weird. But
yeah,
I do think that Trish cares a lot about having a good match. So I
of
think they will
course.
have a good one. and it'll be really fun. Women's matches in Saudi Arabia, they kind of lose a star just because it's hard to get the crowd sometimes. It depends. But I feel like the crowd is typically less interested in the women's matches in Saudi Arabia. But if anyone will get them going, I think it would be Trish and Becky. And this will be a fun 3-hour show. I think this show is going to fly by. Their pay-per-views have been really easy to watch the last few months. And they have always, there has not been a bad WWE pay-per-view in quite a while, I have to say. I can't really think of the last bad one just because they just have good matches, the good pacing. It's nice.
I mean, technically, if you want to say, I would say, a lot of people say WrestleMania Night 2 was probably the worst, but not saying that it was a bad pay-per-view at all. As far as like out of all the ones this year, that was probably the biggest letdown for everyone, or the most boring, but it was still a decent event.
Yeah, so, they're on a good run.
Yeah, exactly. They're doing great compared to, you'd have pay-per-views that are like abysmal. Just nothing makes sense. Or why did I spend Sunday night watching this? So they're doing great.
Yeah, I haven't felt like that in a bit. So that's good. And then AEW has Double or Nothing the next night. Double or Nothing. What are the two big pay-per-views of the year for AEW? I think with All Out. I think I'm not sure which one is their WrestleMania because in interviews, they sometimes say both are, like before Double or Nothing, Tony Khan would be like, this would be all WrestleMania. And then before All Out, he'd be like, no, this is our WrestleMania.
Yeah, I can't really tell, to be honest with you.
I guess this was technically the name of their first event. So it should be the bigger show. Something we talked about when we were setting up this hang is it's kind of crazy how long AEW waits to announce the card. It's less than a week out. We probably don't have all the matches. We have a good chunk of the matches. We finally got like 4 matches announced last night on the show. Some of them I thought the storylines deserved the matches to be only announced at that point, like the Anarchy in the Arena. But some I feel could have been announced 2 weeks ago and nothing would have changed.
Right. There's one I got to talk about this right away that I'm very confused about. Maybe you can convince me why this is a good idea. Christian.
Oh, Christian versus Wardlow in a ladder match for the TNT title.
Yeah. Christian coming back from the dead in a casket. 1, he's back on TV. 2, him versus Wardlow. I thought what they were going for was Luchasaurus versus Wardlow. And I don't know if I'm dumb or if I wasn't paying attention. That's what it seemed like to me. And that was the thing in the promo last week or 2 weeks ago where like Christian's like, oh, you think Luchasaurus is gonna get the title shot? Wrong. It's gonna be me. Okay, so maybe I missed that. Yeah. Because then I would have been upset 2 weeks ago. Because that was still I think it's cool that they're having a ladder match. I don't think it should have been Christian, but we'll see what happens. I mean, to me, obviously, it just seems like he's losing. I can't see Christian winning this, especially with Luchasaurus. Could have been in the match to me. But yeah, now that you mentioned that promo, okay, that makes sense because I had somebody tweet at me, maybe you should watch the show. And I'm like, I'm watching the show. You know what? So I definitely missed that part. But
Christian is 49 years old. Why are they putting a 49-year-old in a ladder match? I am this is a hot take. I'm over ladder matches. I think they are overdone. They're way too dangerous for the amount of virality that those clips get. Like those stunts don't mean anything anymore because it's so common now. So these people are like killing themselves for something people are going to forget in 30 seconds. It's not worth the wasted bump card slots.
I was going to say, are you saying this because you were traumatized at Supercard? with that spot.
Oh my God. That was a great ladder match. I thought that was a great ladder match when they were setting up that spot. As they were setting it up, like before it happened, I'm like, this seems really dumb. This is, and it was, but I think that's the natural outcome, that really bad injury, because that's all you can do is come up with crazier and crazier spots because people are so numbed to these ladder match spots. The ladder match, when the ladder match jumped the shark for me, was the World on GCW. I don't know if you watched that when they had their Hammerstein show.
Oh, I was there.
Oh, you were there? Okay, I was there as well.
Yeah.
And AJ Gray tried to do something. I still to this day don't understand what he thought he was going to accomplish. But like just that whole mess was like, we need to retire the ladder. Ever since then, I just haven't seen that many good ladder matches.
I will say I love AJ Gray. Let's just say he tried to do something for us. Didn't work out.
I feel bad for his back. Jeez.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was a like grasp the ring or whatever match, and then nothing came out of that too.
Right.
But whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I still do like ladder matches. I think they're they're extremely risky. We should I would definitely maybe a once a year thing. Which I think they're doing. So there's nothing wrong with that.
On AEW, they have a ladder match they just had a ladder match at the Ring of Honor show.
It's Sting jumping off ladders.
Right. Yeah, they
cool.
do them. Sting is we could do a whole show on how fucking cool Sting is.
Oh yeah.
Good, but yes. I'm saying from the perspective of maintaining the health of the pro wrestlers, a ladder match is not worth the health risk for the amount of entertainment it provides. So that's just my take.
Yeah. No, I agree. I was talking to a buddy of mine earlier today where we were talking about Edge, where he just flat out said, "Yeah, I'm done with ladder matches."
I appreciate
for good reason.
That. Yeah,
good reason. He's lucky he's back right now, which is great. I would never do a ladder match again if I were Edge. But also, he's 49. I guess he wants to help put Wardlow a little more over. I like Wardlow a lot. I don't think he's there yet. I think it's cool that he has Glock Anderson as his manager, which is kind of cool. But yeah,
I do like Wardlow and Glock. My worry is the ladder match, since it does not require a pinfall, is a way to get the title off Wardlow, because Luchasaurus can somehow kill him, or distract him enough to where Christian can climb up the ladder and win the title. But the counter to that is it would totally kill Wardlow. And why do they need to put Christian over? Christian doesn't need to be over. Christian's over. He's there to put Wardlow's potentially a future world champion. He needs to be protected.
Yeah,
so I agree. Wardlow has to win. Women's title on the line. Jamie Hayter versus Toni Storm. This feud has been all right. It's hit and miss. It's going on a little long. It's been like 6 months now. But these are the two best wrestlers in each faction. So I'm very excited for this match.
Yeah, I will say, as much as I kind of don't like the faction, is a little annoying to me. I don't know why.
The Outcasts?
It's not. Yeah, I hate the spray paint thing. That's just that. I think it's kind of corny. That's it. Besides that, everyone's been great. Yeah, James. Them two, they're gonna have a great match. I think it's been all right, like you said, and I am also grateful that Saraya wasn't thrown in for a title shot, because I thought that would have been the plan, and it wasn't. So I am grateful for that. But yeah,
I think they are using Saraya correctly in that she's kind of like a women's Brock Lesnar. She just makes special appearances, but that's fine because I don't think her wrestling is where it was before she had her neck injury. But she does
No.
obviously have a huge name, huge following, which is why they brought her in. So they're still able to use that and give her enough time to ensure that she doesn't hurt herself again.
We all saw in her match that when she came back, like she was very limited.
Yeah,
Not knocking her, but it's probably best, like, as far as her to not do too much wrestling.
I
To,
agree.
she should. We don't. Nobody wants to see her get hurt again. And yeah, it's kind of cool. I'm excited for this one. Excited for Jamie Hayter. She's been killing it, and I always like Jamie Hayter. I did not expect her to be a AEW Women's Champ, but she's been
She
killing it in
deserves
her
it.
title reign. It's awesome.
She's gotten
Yeah.
so over organically just by having Haas. She's the Haas of the women's
Yeah.
division. So this will be
Mm-hmm.
great. I'm looking forward to her and Tony Storm really beating the crap out of each other because they're two
Mm-hmm.
women that can fight. I think
Definitely.
Jamie's going to retain, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't see Tony winning.
Then we have the tag title match. Special guest referee Mark Briscoe with FTR versus My World Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. I can't believe how much I'm entertained by Jeff Jarrett in the year 2023, but he's been
Yeah.
phenomenal. He's been very good. But I can't see it a title changer. This feud has been a delight, though.
Yeah. The Jeff Jarrett honestly grew on me this year
Mm-hmm.
because I just don't know. It's just him with a guitar, just screaming at everyone. And at first you're like, here we go with this shit. But now I love it. I don't see him and Jay Lethal winning, but it's kind of like if Roman were to win the titles. I mean, not really, but also the
Yeah, I
fact
wouldn't be mad about it.
how mad people would be if Jeff Jarrett was tag team champion with Jay Lethal. I think that would be amazing. And that's just kind of like the troll in me in a way. I also think it
That's
would be
fair.
hilarious to see them have a title reign. Give him one more thing before he hangs it up, if he does anytime soon. But yeah, I don't see them winning. I see FTR taking it.
And I gotta say, I like Karen Jarrett popping up. I think she's really fun.
That was a nice surprise. That was cool.
We have the AEW International title on the line. Orange Cassidy defends in a 21-man blackjack battle royal. I'm assuming this is like a mini Royal Rumble where they're going to draw a card and then a person's going to come out every minute. I'm okay with this. I always like these schmazes on AEW pay-per-views are always fun. And as like someone that like again from the business point of view, I know this isn't like who cares, but I think it's a cool way to get more wrestlers on the show, which should be a priority to get like the newer younger guys and some of the legends, give them a few moments of shine. So this will be a fun thing. It's a good way for Orange to lose the title, but I think it would be a shame, a good excuse, I should say, for how Orange could lose the title. But it would be a shame after such a great run that this is how he loses it. So I think Orange should retain.
Yeah, I do too. I don't think if he's going to lose it, I think it's going to be at Wembley.
Oh, wow. You think he's going to go that long?
Yeah, I definitely do. I don't mean to knock on him too much, but like, are you kind of surprised that he's still champion? Like, I love Orange Cassidy, but as far as this whole title reigns goes, I think it's hilarious.
I haven't
just
really
like,
seen a match where I'm like, okay, he should lose it here.
yeah,
Like there's been matches where he could lose it here. Like there was the one with Bandito a few weeks ago, but
yeah,
I think it's fine. And Orange Cassidy is really, really over. So this is a good way to have him on the show every week or so.
yeah, I agree with that.
Moving on, we have the Anarchy in the Arena match just announced. It's the Elite, the reunited Elite. Finally, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Hangman Page against the Blackpool Combat Club, Bryan Danielson, John Moxley, Claudio, and Wheeler Yuta. What do you think about this one?
Blackpool Combat Club is so cool right now. I love this match actually. Hangman Page coming back to join Elite. It kind of reminded me of Hangman's story in the beginning of AEW, like that long term that you've been seeing forever, that long term storytelling. So
Well,
that was
yeah,
kind of cool to
it's the whole
see. Yeah.
continue of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Take that,
So
Bloodline. You got 2 years. These guys got like 4 years.
yeah, they're learning from them. But yeah, I think it's cool that not only they're together to face Blackpool Combat Club, I think the BCC is pretty cool. I think it's awesome, especially when Brian just joined the group and made it even better. I think, especially him as a heel now, because I did not like his first heel.
Agreed.
I didn't really care for it that much. Although it was cool. He was calling everyone fickle, and
you mean the WWE, the
that
planet.
too? Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, or the AEW run. No, I did like the WWE
Yeah.
heel run, but the AEW one, I see what you mean.
Yeah, it was like it was whatever. Right now, him with the group, especially with Mox, this whole Anarchy in the arena match. The last one was great. This one's gonna be wild. I definitely cannot wait to see this.
Yeah, I was at Double or Nothing last year in person.
Nice.
I was very lucky to be able to be there, and it was the wildest match I'd ever seen. I didn't know where to look. There was so much going on. It was so fun. I'm honestly surprised they're doing it again, because I feel like, 4 or 5 people came out of that match injured. I know Bryan Danielson didn't wrestle for months after because he got a concussion during that match. So I hope they're a little safe. Kenny Omega, like, he has to be protected at all costs. For me, he's my guy. But this is going to be the match of the show easily, because I can't imagine these guys not deliver something phenomenal. But I don't know. I guess the Elite have to win here. We're ready for our happy ending at this point, right? But I would like the Combat Club. I guess not. No, I want whatever will lead to Kenny Omega needing to call in Kota Ibushi to help him. So let's say the Combat Club wins. And then we have the World Championship match. MJF defends against Sammy Guevara, Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, and Darby Allin. Jungle Boy, Jack Perry is one person, by the way, not 2 people. And how have you felt about the build of this match? Do you buy this as a main event?
I love all of them. I will say this. I love all of them. I've never thought I hate the word pillars until this whole thing started. Their use of the word pillar has just drove me nuts. I think it's a little too cheesy for me. With the whole, we all started this together thing. I do think though this could be a really good match. With all 4 of them, they're all great. There goes my cat in the background. That's great. It's just popping up out of nowhere.
Totally fine.
Whatchamacallit? Yeah. How would I say this? I think I will be more surprised when I see it, I guess, because right now I think it's okay to me. Yeah, I don't really have much feeling on it. Like, I think it's all right. MJF as a champ, I loved it at first. I feel like I will say this. I thought he was losing steam, but there's the part where he smacked the microphone off Renee's hand that somehow made me go, okay, here we go. This is the guy I want to see, this asshole. Not the typical jerk that he's been doing forever. Like, he's kind of angry now, and I kind of dug that a lot. I think it will be a great match. I wasn't really liking the story for me. It was a little too corny for me. I don't know.
The story didn't hit for me. I thought that Sammy Guevara and Jungle Boy, and to some extent Darby Allin, kind of exposed themselves on the mic a little bit. Some of the stuff doesn't resonate with me. Like, I hate when they're on mic talking about, you got all these opportunities handed to you while I had to wrestle on dark. Like, why do I care as a fan? Like, who cares?
That's when this all started too, right?
Yeah. I thought all of that did them a huge disservice. I don't buy this as a pay-per-view main event. I would have bought this as like a big special Dynamite show main event. But I really think this feud has done damage to the MJF championship reign, because MJF is not as over as he was with me the moment he won the title. And I was at Full Gear. It was in Newark.
Yeah.
And we were cheering like fucking crazy. And
I remember I was there too.
Yeah, it was fucking nuts. It was such a great event. And we all wanted him to win. And he had some great heel promos, but then I feel that it just was like the same thing over and over again. And he just had no good material to work against with this feud, because he's kind of almost in the like up against the wall position when he's usually the guy making all the claims. So I didn't really like this. I'm ready for this feud to end. No way in hell is anybody beating MJF. MJF is leaving the champ. So I think they got to do much, much bigger with his next challenger.
Yeah, like you said earlier, with the first promo with all of them in the ring just talking to each other. I think one of them, I think it was Darby Allin, when he said something like, "You guys whine on Twitter," and I was like, "All right, this is getting stupid now."
Yeah,
like I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear, even if they're trying to work something that's legit, I don't care for that. Like, I've never been more sick of, I used to like that stuff, but I think AEW has overdone it so many times with things like that, where especially with them coming out of what happened last year, you want them to get past it and grow. And when they do stuff like that, you're like, all right, come on, can we stop, please? And then MJF just coming out and like kind of like shitting on all of them. And it was just like, yeah, like you said, it kind of like weakened him in a way, like as far as being over. And I'm like kind of over it. I want to see, that's why I think when that smack happened, like it was kind of different compared to what he's been doing the past month. And I kind of want to see him back in a singles feud against someone, not this 4-way, whatever it is. Sammy, I love Sammy, but he's not a pillar. Like, stop it.
He's not. And like, I don't care about him as a face, or like how he's like, I work so hard, I'm just a kid from Texas. Like, okay, great, get out of here, get off the mic, go away.
You don't have fucking problems. Like, come on, stop.
And as far as unannounced but obvious matches, the only one I could really think of is Jericho and Adam Cole, baby. Which I think Adam Cole, baby, has to win, baby, because he's probably the next contender for MJF.
Oh yeah, 100%. We also, I think Jay Cargill's fighting too.
Oh right, I guess it wasn't announced, but I'm assuming she's probably fighting Taya Valkyrie.
I think so, but it's just the thing with Jade. I'm kind of over her reign.
Agreed.
I don't know about you.
Same as with MJF. They're dragging this shit out a little too long and doing the wrestler a bit of a disservice.
And I love them. Like, they're awesome.
I am a huge fan of Jade, but I just I don't need to watch her and a jobber at 10:45 on Rampage. Right. Give me something else. Give her I don't know. But
agreed.
I think it's interesting too with AEW. It shows you really how hard it is to book a week-to-week show consistently after 4 years, because for the longest time with WWE and their very, let's say, questionable booking, you would always think, geez, I could do a better job than this. Anybody could do a better job than this. If I just had some money, I could do it. And here is a guy who is a lifelong fan, was on fucking message boards since he was a kid, fantasy booked his own promotion for years as a kid, and said, oh, this is something I can do. And here he is with his billions of dollars. And it shows that even with the best intentions, you will run into problems booking. It's not as easy as it looks.
No. Or he's making it look like it's hard. It could be that.
That's true.
But he's the only one doing it from what I know. So it's kind of also, he's like, the announcement of Collision, Like, do they? I want them to have another show. I thought that's what was Rampage was gonna be,
Mm-hmm.
and then it just didn't pan out that way. And now we got this new show on a Saturday night. How do you feel about that? I'm curious.
I'm reservedly optimistic, I will say.
Mm-hmm.
I think here's my thing. If they treat it like a fun party every week with
Yeah.
fun matches, it'll be really fun. And
Mm-hmm.
while I'm sure most people won't watch it live, I'm sure it can do good DVR numbers the next morning. Like SNL is on at a undesirable time. People watch it.
Yeah.
But if they end up falling into the trap that they had with Rampage, where after like the first 3 weeks, it's just, oh, John Moxley will be on the show, but he's facing Lee Moriarty, where
Mm-hmm.
it's a nothing match, then people will not care. It has to have main A-level angles and it has to have hot action, really
Mm-hmm.
good matches. I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
see these matches with a good attraction talent and facing C-level talent where it's so obvious what the match is going to be. And there's no like meat to the match. There has to be work rate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't want to see CM Punk.
Oh no,
Yeah,
I
I
want to
said it.
see him.
I said,
I'm all about
oh,
CM Punk. I want him to come back.
I have a beef with him, and I have a personal beef with him,
Oh,
and
what's
this
that?
is just kind of jealousy.
Yeah.
So my birthday is August 20th. As you remember, there was a specific episode of Rampage on August 20th in Chicago.
Mm.
Now, I had a little get together at the time in my old apartment, and it was for my birthday. We're all gonna hang out, barbecue in my landlord's yard, had a good time. And my friend kept saying, "Come on, let's go in the living room and watch CM Punk come back." And I'm like, "No, this is my birthday. We're hanging out. I don't want to see it. We'll see you tomorrow." But come on, let's really see it. I really want to see it. And I was like, all right, fine. So I had to take 15 minutes out of my party to go in the living room to turn it on and watch him come out. And
Rude.
I
Very
just
rude of him.
remember I was watching him. I'm like, you piece of shit. It's always about you, isn't it? Like, even with me, this is so dumb. This is such a weird thing to not like him
I
for.
mean, of
But
all the agendas I've seen in the last few weeks, that's the best one. That's the best reason
yeah,
to hate it.
every reason it's somehow him making it about him. But yeah, that I was like, come on, man. Like, you had to do it on my day. you know
I'm here for the drama. I do hope he's back because it's fun. It's fun when he's around.
yeah.
This is fun. And I think with All In, they need him, you know. So I think he'll be back sooner than
Mm-hmm.
later.
Yeah, we'll see.
But John, thank you for hanging out with me.
Yeah, you got it.
We
Thank
had a
you.
great
This is
time.
fun. Mm-hmm.
I had a blast
100%.
with you.
This is
Come back
great.
anytime. We'll talk about pay-per-views. And
Yeah, man.
we have a whole lot of wrestling to watch this weekend. So
Oh
hopefully
yeah.
you have some good takeout ready to be ordered.
Oh yeah.
What's your go-to
favorite?
ticket? Oh, my go-to is there's a Bonchon not too far from me. It's a like Korean fried chicken
Oh
place.
yeah. I
So
used to
just
live
soy
near
garlic
there.
fried chicken. Hey baby.
Mm-hmm.
How about you?
That's great. Uh I would say something with wings. So that would either be just a buffalo wings somewhere, I don't know, or it could just be a Chinese food spot around the corner and get chicken wings over
Oh,
there. Yeah,
oh.
very simple, but I do love my wings, especially with
I want,
wrestling. That's my thing. Yeah.
I want some cheap Chinese takeout for dinner.
Yeah, exactly. It's cheap, doesn't break the bank. It's perfect.
All right. Well, John,
Mhm.
thank you so much, man. And thank you for watching us chit chat
Thank
about
you.
pro wrestling.
You got it. Thank you.